The Chase Sapphire Reserve refresh is here, and I'm pretty sure I'm the first one to cover it, so you're welcome for that. This isn't a Chase ruined the Sapphire Reserve video, but it's also not a they made it better video either. I've been sitting on this refresh for a little while now without making a video, and that's because I'm completely torn. On one hand, the card can now give you a positive effective annual fee, but on the other hand, I'm thinking about just how much brain power it's actually going to take to get that value. So instead of picking a side, I'm simply going to list the good, the bad, and everything in between. And on top of that, I'm going to turn this mental problem into a math problem. I built an automated spreadsheet that I'll use to plug in my own numbers, and it'll be available for all you guys completely free in the description below. And by the end of this video, I want all of you guys to have the tools you need to decide if the $795 Chase Sapphire Reserve is worth it for you. The good. This card now comes with a 100,000 point welcome offer that also comes with a $500 Chase Travel promo credit. This is the highest the bonus on the Sapphire Reserve has ever been, so worst case, you can pick up this card for 1 year and test run it with the welcome offer and all the credits the card has to offer. And after your first year, if it doesn't make sense for you, you can just downgrade the card to the Sapphire Preferred or one of the Freedom cards such as the Freedom Unlimited or Freedom Flex. You can now earn 4x points on flights booked directly and hotels booked directly, which is 1 more point than the previous version of this card. So for the people that like to book directly, this is a great improvement. The $300 travel credit is here to stay. If you spend on anything from flights and hotels to parking and tolls, it's going to credit your account automatically. So if you travel at all, this is going to be your easiest credit to use. This card's airport lounge access is one of the strongest on the market, and that's because it still gives you the ability to bring in 2 complimentary guests into the lounge, which is becoming more and more rare as cards such as the Amex Platinum and Capital One Venture X take away that guest access. So all in all, for the good, we have a record high sign-up bonus, higher flight and hotel multipliers, the $300 travel credit, and amazing airport lounge access. So are all of these things worth the bad things that come on this card? Well, let's see. The bad. We now have a $795 annual fee, which is a $245 increase from the previous iteration. It's clear to see that every popular card's annual fee will increase over time, but are they giving us enough value back to make it worth it is the real question. Well, starting off strong, we have the amazing $120 Peloton credit, which you can basically take off $120 off that annual fee right now, right? Seriously though, I'd love to see someone who actually uses this credit with a straight face. You get $10 a month for eligible Peloton memberships, and in case you were wondering, a membership is $13 a month, so it doesn't even cover it all the way. Now for maybe the worst nerf of this card's refresh, and that's the removal of the 50% boost on points in the travel portal. The Sapphire Reserve has been considered the go-to card for domestic economy flights for years now, due to it getting 1.5 cents per point on these redemptions through the travel portal with the Chase Sapphire Reserve, versus, say, if you traveled out to JetBlue and you maybe get 1.2 cents per point. This feature was probably one of the biggest selling points for a lot of people, and now it's being replaced with a points boost feature, which basically gives you a 100% boost on points, but that's only when booking premium stays and flights. Time will tell how lucrative this is, but the silver lining is card holders that held the card before the refresh will have access to the 50% boost until October 26, 2027, but only for the points earned and transferred to this card by October 26, 2025. So for some people, and even me, we're still going to be able to latch onto this feature for a couple more years, depending on how much you use your Chase points. We've also lost that 3x multiplier on travel, which if y'all weren't aware, this travel multiplier was in the top ranks for broad travel because mostly anything related to travel or transit would be coded as travel for that 3x. This is going to hurt people that stay at Airbnbs a lot or do a lot of transit via buses, subways, or stuff like that. The $500 travel portal credit that comes with the sign-up bonus is actually a one-time coupon, meaning if you buy a $100 flight through Chase Travel and use the credit, you lost the other $400 of value. So make sure when you use this credit to book something that's at least $500 to get that full value. And speaking of $500 credits, we now have the $500 credit for the Edit, which is Chase's premium hotel program. On the surface, that $500 actually sounds pretty good, but why would Chase make it that easy for us? Well, they didn't. This credit is split into semi-annual $250 credits, which still doesn't sound too bad until you do a deep dive and realize you need to book a minimum of 2 nights to activate this credit. And on top of all of that, they're insanely overpriced. Are there going to be sweet spots for this? Yes. Does using this with the $300 travel credit make it a bit better? Maybe. Is this credit going to be easy to use? No. Oh, and I almost forgot, the authorized user fees are now $195 per authorized user, which is a $120 jump, and that's with no added benefits for them, so that's just a huge loss. So all in all, for the bad, we have an annual fee and authorized user fee increase. We lost a 50% point boost in the travel portal and the 3x multiplier on travel. We have $500 credits that leave much to be desired, and we have a Peloton credit. Yeah. The in-between. Apparently, this card is now 19 grams of metal instead of 13 grams, so if you care about that, then that's something. You can now earn 8x points on all travel purchases through the Chase travel portal, which is fine, I guess. 3x points on dining is still intact, which, I mean, yeah, it's nice, but also every other Chase card has 3x on dining, so it really isn't a make or break. You get IHG 1 Rewards Platinum Elite status, which could be useful for the right people, getting you 60% more bonus points, no blackout dates for reward nights, and complimentary upgrades subject to availability. Keep in mind that this doesn't give you the 4th night free with IHG. In order to get that, you need to hold one of the IHG credit cards. You still get a free Priority Pass membership, which is nice, but also every other premium travel credit card has this, so it's nothing special. You get a global entry TSA PreCheck or Nexus fee credit, which is also obviously nice, but this has been a benefit on this card and a bunch of other cards for forever now. And lastly, I'm going to group all of the lifestyle credits together besides the Peloton credit because that one's just bad. You get a $300 Sapphire Reserve Tables credit split into $150 semi-annually, $250 for Apple TV Plus and Apple Music, $300 in DoorDash credits split up into $25 a month, and those are split up even more. A Dash Pass membership, $300 on StubHub split into semi-annual $150 credits, and $120 in Lyft credits split into $10 a month. Some of them are better than others, but overall, these credits aren't terrible. It really just depends on your individual spending habits, which is why it's super important not to look at all these credits and say, wow, this card is amazing, or this card sucks now, but rather plug in your own individual numbers, which is exactly what I'm going to do now. Like I said, this spreadsheet is available for all of you at no cost in the description below, but now onto my own numbers. So I've been going back and forth on which credits I'd actually use and which ones I could maybe use, but I really wouldn't use. So it's just a whole mental battle for me. So I'm just gonna go again and try it out. I really believe I'm gonna be using $0 of the edit credit, so 0. Feel like I'm gonna use all $300 of the travel credit. Global entry, I do get the $24 of value with that. Now the Sapphire Tables one is interesting because although I can't value it at the full $300, I also can't value it at $0. First off, I'm not 100% sure if the $150 semi-annually can be split up into multiple restaurants, but just say for the sake of simplicity that it can't be split up, or maybe I only visit one of these restaurants every 6 months. I'm basically just gonna value it at the price of a dinner that I'd actually pay for me and my girlfriend. So I'm gonna say $75 saying we went all out. I wouldn't pay $150 for that experience, but I would pay $75. So 75 times 2, I'm going to value this credit at $150. This Apple credit is also interesting because I don't use Apple TV at all, but I potentially could move over from Spotify to Apple Music. Right now with Spotify's student plan, I pay $6.39 every month in order to have Spotify. So I'm going to calculate how much money I'd save if I were to switch over to Apple Music. So I'm just going to input $6.39 times 12. So this is the dollar amount I would save if I switched over to Apple Music. And I'm not completely tied to Spotify. I mean, I really like it, but Apple Music basically does all the same stuff. So I'm going to value this credit at $76 for now, but I might take it out at the end. The $300 StubHub credit. So this one is again very interesting because I actually do go to concerts a lot, and I'd also like to go to comedy shows, so it's not out of the realm of possibility to actually value this credit. So for me personally right now, I'm going to value this credit at $200. So now we have the $10 a month Lyft credit. I'm going to value this at $20 because I feel like I'd only use a Lyft like 2 times a year at most. So input that there. Then we have the $240 DoorDash non-restaurant credits split into $10 a month 2 times a month. So this was already an existing benefit on the previous Chase Sapphire Reserve, and I have been using it. So I would value it at the full $240, but you also have to account for the markups on DoorDash, as well as me getting takeout more than I probably would if I didn't have this credit. So I think I'm going to value it at $200. Now we have the $60 DoorDash restaurant credit, which is split into $5 a month. This one is a bit harder to use, but for the past 2 months, I've just been using it for going out to get water ice or ice cream, which I usually do anyway, so I'm probably going to value value this, I'll do it at half just to be conservative, but I probably would get more value than that. Now we have the complimentary DoorDash Dash Pass, which is $120 a year, but I'm just going to value this at $0 because I wouldn't get it anyway. And then we have the $120 Peloton credit split into $10 a month, and obviously I'm going to give this $120 worth of value. Obviously, I'm joking. This thing's trash. $0. Now we have my lounge access yearly valuation, which this one's kind of interesting and it'll spark up a lot of debates. But for me, I'm basically just going to value it at how much money I would spend at an airport if I didn't have lounge access. And to be conservative, say I only have 2 trips a year, I'd only probably want to spend $25 at the airport at a time. So going both ways, I'd probably value this at $100 for the entire year. Because if I did have to pay for access to lounges over the course of a year, I would pay a $100 membership, so that kind of makes sense to me. IHG Platinum status, $0, and then obviously all these credits that you have to spend $75K for, I'm obviously not going to get value from, but maybe you will. So right now with my valuations of the credits and benefits on this card, I have an effective annual fee of $306, and that's before I even include the points I'd earn from spending on the card. So for Chase Travel, I'm probably not going to be spending anything, so I'm just going to leave that at 0. Lyft purchases, it's kind of up in the air how much I'd actually spend because it really just depends on where I'm at, but with my assumption before of only using it 2 times a year, I'm just going to give a rough estimate. I think I'm just going to say $100 a year in Lyft purchases, so I'm just going to put that into the calculator as $834, which is about $100, so I'd earn 801 points from that, which adds $16 to my yearly points earned, assuming 2 cents per point, but you can change that in the calculator if you only value your points at 1 cent per point. Now, since I'm just starting out in this whole travel game, I don't know how much I'm actually going to be spending on direct flights and hotels, because I'm usually just booking through points, but I'm just going to say I spend $500 a year, which is about $42 a month. And this would give me 2,016 points, give me a total of $56 from my points earned. Now, assuming I keep this card, I'd probably use this card over the Amex Gold for my dining, because first of all, I know it's going to be accepted anywhere in the world because it's a Visa card and it also has no foreign transaction fees. And second of all, this is going to be a 19-gram metal credit card, so I mean, that's just a cool factor. But more seriously, my third point is that I'm considering canceling my Amex Gold card, especially if I keep the Sapphire Reserve, because that's just going to be a lot of credits to juggle, so getting rid of the Amex Gold would just make it a lot easier on my brain. So I'm actually in my spend tracking app right now, which is quick and simplify, but basically I'm trying to get a rough number of how much I spend on eating out in a given year. So I spent $500.34 on fast food last year, so we'll input that there. And I spent an additional $324.62 on dining last year. Now, I also categorized treats and vending machines into a different category, so I'm going to add another $150 to the total. And then also, I'm the friend that puts my card out for dinners when we go out to eat. And even though technically that isn't my spend, the spend is still going on the card to get that 3x multiplier. So honestly, I don't know exactly how much I put on there, but we've had dinners of $300, $600, $400. I'm going to add another $1,000 because honestly, I think it's more than that, but I'll just say another $1,000. So maybe we'll just round it out to $2,000. So since I configured it to input the monthly spend, I'm just going to do 2,000 divided by 12, and that's about $167. So 167 a month, and that gives me another 6,012 points, making a total yearly points earned value of $177. And for the everything else category, it's going to stay at 0 because obviously I'm using a catch-all card. So my effective annual fee is $482. So you would think I should just keep the card, right? But to be honest, I'm still undecided because this is a lot. All right, I mean, obviously, this is a lot. This isn't the Blue Business Plus where you earn 2x on everything, $0 annual fee. This is an $800 credit card. I'm 21 years old. I don't know if I should be paying $800 for a credit card. That's kind of insane. So yeah, I'm getting $482 worth of value, but I also could just live my life normally and not have to worry about any of this. Right now, the only 2 factors that are making me want to keep this card right now is the access to airport lounges and the fact that I can still use the 50% boost on points in the travel portal until October of 2027. So I'm still undecided, but I'm leaning towards keeping this card at least until October 2027. Maybe I'll cancel it in 2026. Who knows? I think for me personally, I'm going to give this card a try and see how difficult these credits are to use. Who knows, maybe I can find some Sapphire tables that are actually not that expensive, or I can actually use that credit twice in a 6-month period, because then I'd actually be able to value it at $300. It's just hard for me to want to actually keep this card if the only reason I have it is to get value from credits. I mean, yeah, it's nice, but it's just so much more work. It's so much work. I honestly envy the people that just use the City Double Cash, but I know I put myself into this mess and I secretly like it. So after doing all this, it's pretty obvious that unless you can easily get a positive effective annual fee, you're basically running around like a monkey trying to get as many bananas as possible, but at the end of the day, you're still in Chase's zoo. So is lounge access worth all that? Well, that's solely up to you. Psh, wow, call me Dr. Seuss or something. So Chase's $795 Sapphire Reserve is a mental battle for me, and it might be for you too, but at the end of the day, you have to take yourself out of that and just do the numbers. If you get positive value without even trying, I think this is a very strong card, even better than before. But if you're someone that's stretching the truth of the credits you actually get value from, just remember, you're the one paying that $800 a year for a credit card. Is airport lounge access worth all that brain capacity? Personally, I still haven't really made up my mind on that, but I hope I at least helped you guys get a better understanding of how the card fits into your life. I think a good principle to keep in mind for any of these cards really is to make sure a card is working for you instead of you working for a card. If you do decide to apply for the Sapphire Reserve, I put a link to sign up in the description below, and if you apply through that link, you will get the highest offer of 100,000 points and the $500 travel credit, and at the same time, it will help support the free content I provide on this channel. I seriously appreciate it when you guys use my links. I encourage you guys to keep this conversation going in the comments below about your thoughts on this card refresh. Please consider leaving a like and subscribing if you enjoyed the video, because just like credit card points, it's free. Apparently only 8% of you guys are subscribed, so let's try and get that number up a bit. If you want to see me compare the new Sapphire Reserve to the Amex Platinum, check out this video next. Also, YouTube thinks you'll like this one. I wish you all the best, and I'll see y'all in the next one.